We'll start by slicing up an 8-ounce package of cremini mushrooms. I like to remove the stems so that they sit evenly on the cutting board. It makes for a nice stable base when slicing. Then we're gonna thinly slice all the mushrooms. They don't need to be perfect, you just want a similar thickness so that they all cook at about the same rate. They'll add a really nice rich flavor and texture to the sauce. Using cremini mushrooms just gives you more flavor than using something like a button mushroom. To chop garlic, I like to crush it first. This makes the skin really easy to remove. Then I just give it a quick slice and a fine mince. So this clove of garlic will just give the sauce another layer of flavor. A good way to mince shallots is to treat them like the tiny onions that they are. Shallots are a traditional ingredient to many classic sauces because they add that onion element without being too harsh or too overpowering. So I like using fresh picked thyme leaves in this sauce because to me, thyme and mushrooms just pair so well together. We'll give these a quick chop to make sure that the flavor is evenly dispersed throughout the sauce. And of course, with an old school sauce like this, we're gonna need plenty of butter. You'll typically see pan sauces using tenderloin fillets, but I want to go the beefier route. That's why I'm using the sirloin. By brushing a little oil directly on the steak, we won't have to use any in the pan, which will create a lot less smoke. Be sure to season generously with kosher salt and fresh cracked pepper. You won't regret using sirloin in this dish. It'll add a little bit of texture and flavor that you just don't get out of tenderloins. And don't forget to generously season the other side. A really nicely seasoned steak will create a beautiful crust, which really complements that medium rare interior that we're going for. Hey, and if you don't like your steak medium rare, you can choose your degree of doneness here. We've got the skillet preheated to medium high, so we'll put these directly in the pan and allow to get a hard sear on that first side. I like to press them into the pan a little bit to make sure that they're making good contact. And you don't need to use any oil here, since the steaks have already been nicely coated. Once they've seared for a couple minutes, we'll flip and allow the second side to sear for about another 2 to 3 minutes to really develop that crust. And that's what you're looking for, that gorgeous brown crust development. Putting these on a wire rack helps to finish them cooking through evenly and maintain that beautiful crust. We'll get these into preheated 325-degree oven while we build our pan sauce. Of course, we're starting with butter. But man, look at that fond. That's what's gonna give this sauce so much of the beefy flavor, and it'll help you clean up this pan when it's time to wash it. First, we'll go in with the mushrooms, because mushrooms have a lot of moisture in them, and we wanna make sure that evaporates and we can get a good sear and develop some flavor on it. It is really important to cook out a good amount of that moisture before you start adding the other ingredients. Now that's a good looking seared mushroom. We'll need some more butter for this sauce because the mushrooms absorb so much when they're cooking. And then we got the shallots and garlic. They really add so many layers of flavor to such a rich sauce. Now the final elements of the sauce are unsalted beef stock and heavy cream. Using unsalted stock ensures that you'll be able to control the seasoning of the sauce, and it won't get too salty as it reduces. It's good to control the way you season a sauce by using a touch now and tasting it again after it reduces to see if any more is needed. A rich and creamy pan sauce is such a great way to capture all that flavor that would normally be lost at the bottom of a pan. Here's a trick to know when your sauce is ready. It should be thick enough to coat the back of a spoon and keep a line when you run your finger through. Adding thyme at the end brings a little freshness to the sauce. The sauce comes together in the same amount of time it takes to finish that steak in the oven. We've allowed the steaks to rest for a couple minutes before going on top of this bed of sauce. All right, and this sauce, let me tell you, smothering this with that sauce is really just worth the time you put into it. It's so rich and creamy, it goes great with a steak like this. Now let's dig into this steak. I was going for medium rare, and it looks like it came out perfect. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.